Welcome to Picks and Parlays here on the Sports Byline Broadcast Network and also streaming live video on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. I'm your host, Nick Geber. Today is Tuesday, November the 19th, and I'd like to wish all of our viewers, listeners, and handicappers and contributors to the show a very, very happy World Toilet Day today. This is really a big day for everybody involved, and the global celebrations will be ringing throughout the entire day today, or shall I say, flushing for World Toilet Day. But we do have a very big show today, as we do every day. We're going to kick it off with some basketball with our very own expert handicapper, Triple B, Tony Brown, joining us right here. We're going to talk Knicks at 76ers, Spurs at Wizards, and we're going to throw in a little college basketball with St. Mary's at Fresno State for you. Then Tony El Tigre Tellez, the Tiger will roar. We're going to talk college football, Colorado State, Wyoming, UCLA at USC, the game of the century, I might add, where UCLA no doubt will inflict a massive upset on those spoilt brats of USC. K-State at Texas Tech, and then we're going to top it all off with Sean Higgs, our very own superstar himself. We'll talk NFL with some Colts at Texans, Bucks at Falcons, Jags at Titans. That's what we're going to be covering today. Again, we give out a lot of free picks on this show. You can get even more at picksandparlays.net. And when you're ready, you can kick it up and go with our expert picks. Visit picksandparlays.net if you want to contribute on the show. We'd love to hear from you. Who are you betting on? What do you think of our picks? Aren't I great looking and wonderful? Want to hear it all from you. All you got to do is go to our social media. That's Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. You could hashtag Parlay Radio, or you could fill in the comment box on any one of those services, and we will put it up on the screen. Listen to how old I sound. I sound like Chip Chirimba. Services. And we'll put it up on the screen, and we'll endeavor to answer it on the show. Rude is okay. Not too rude, though, because super rude, well, that probably won't make it up on the screen. All right, once again, big hello to our men and women in uniform. In fact, I say once again, I didn't say it to begin with. So now I'll say it. Big hello to our men and women in uniform listening around the world on the American Forces Network. We're so glad you're with us. We will be right back after the break. NBA and college basketball with Triple B, Bookie Blaster Brown, joining us right after the break.
Suffering through Turkey Day, try not to Ralph on Uncle Ralph. Bob, do you A, vomit, B, guzzle the pink stuff, C, take fast-acting Nauzene?
Take Nauzene?
Correct. Nauzene's 4-minute formula quickly relieves stomach discomfort from overindulging in food or drink.
Get fast-acting Nauzene now. Available in stores everywhere. Use only as directed.
Do you owe $10,000 or more on at least 2 federal student loans? Then you may qualify for new programs offered by the Department of Education. These programs can reduce your interest, lower your payments, and possibly qualify you for loan forgiveness. If you have $10,000 or more and at least 2 federal student loans and currently not in school, you may qualify for one of these programs. Call now to check your eligibility. Student loan advisors are standing by to help you determine if you qualify for these new programs. They can help you reduce your interest, lower your payment, and even forgive a portion of your student loan debt. Take control of your financial future. Make this free 5-minute free call now to Nationwide Student Loans and learn how you can reduce your student loan debt.
800-439-7851, 800-439-7851, 800-439-7851, 800-439-7851.
Money Now 100 is not a lender, broker, or agent of any lender or financial advisor. We do not make loans or credit decisions. You must be 18 years or older and a U.S. resident to qualify. This is not an offer or solicitation to lend. I went to moneynow100.com and got the $5,000 I needed deposited in my account the next business day. If you need money for any reason, help is here. Go to moneynow100.com and get the money you need. Need to pay off credit card debt? Go to moneynow100.com. Need your car repaired? Need home improvement money? Visit moneynow100.com. If you need fast cash for any reason, go to moneynow100.com. Good up to $5,000 as soon as the next business day. Go to moneynow100.com on your phone, tablet, or computer. Type in the address bar moneynow100.com. That's moneynow100.com.
Filling an opening at your company means more than just finding an employee. You're looking for a fit, a match. Robert Half understands that. We know you need someone who can do the work, someone who complements your culture. And of course, you need that someone fast. When it all comes together, it makes for a perfect fit. Satisfaction guaranteed. Robert Half, the matching experts in accounting, finance, IT, legal, marketing, and administrative staffing. Visit roberthalf.com/radio for more information.
And we welcome you back to Picks and Parlays. I'm your host, Nick Geber. Find me on Twitter at Nick Geber. And do find me there because I have a lot of fun with the Twitter feed. We really do. Anyway, welcome back to the show. This is the segment we promised you we would get to some basketball. And who better to talk basketball with than our very own resident handicapper, the Triple B himself, Tony Brown. Tony, happy World Toilet Day to you, my friend.
Thank you, man. Sorry I couldn't get into the studio. I'm celebrating World Toilet Day. I just got up off the toilet.
It does actually sound a little like you are talking to us from the throne itself, in which case that makes it even more awesome. So anyway, thank you. Welcome to the show, Tony. Let's talk some basketball, shall we? We have games tonight, which if we have time, we'll maybe touch on. But really, we're talking about games coming up on Wednesday. Let's start with the Knicks at the 76ers. The Knicks are 4-10, 7-7 against the spread, coming off a 123-105 win against the Cavs. Dead last in the league in terms of free throw percentage, 29th in the league in terms of field goal percentage. Reggie Bullock's still out indefinitely. I guess that's why it's indefinitely, right? Duh. Okay, and as for the 76ers, they're 8-5, 6-6-1 against the spread. They snapped a two-game losing streak with a 114-95 win over the Cavs. By the way, what I love about this game is for the last game for both these teams were wins against the Cavs. So there you go. Third best in the NBA in field goal percentage and top 10 in rebounds for the 76ers. They're 1-4 against the spread in the last 5 games. No surprise they are favorites at -13. Total 213. What say you, Triple B?
Yeah, you can't be afraid to lay the big number in this one. You have absolutely nothing going for the Knicks. I'm talking about from management, ownership, the fans, the players, the bench. RJ Barrett is the best thing that happened to the Knicks, but it's going to be a long rebuilding process, especially against Philly, a team that's absolutely owned them. They've gone 0-8 against Philly dating back to last season, straight up, and Philly's beaten them 6-0 against the spread in New York, in Philly. They just, like I said, there's nothing good to say about New York. And on the other hand, Philly, I mean, good teams win and great teams cover. They're 9-1 straight up, but they're 8-2 against the number. So, I mean, if you're betting on Philly or if you're just watching Philly, you've been very, very satisfied this season. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. The Knicks bring nothing to the table on the road. I'm going to lay that number and take Philly minus the 13 points.
Yep, lay Philly minus 13. I think that's a very, very good choice. Next up, let's talk Spurs at Wizards. The Spurs 5-9, 3-11 against the spread. Talk about not making the spread right there. 3-11 against the spread for the Spurs. The Wizards 3-8, 7-5-1 against the spread. The Spurs coming off a 110-117 loss to Dallas. The Wizards coming off a 121-128 loss to Orlando. Jordan McRae may be back, may not, but I think it's sounding like he'll be back. The Spurs are 1-5 against the spread the last 6. They're over in 6 of the last 7, and the Spurs are also over in, and the Wizards are over in 6 of the last 9. I have Spurs -2 and a total of 239.5. What have you got?
I'm going to go with a double pick on this game. And surprisingly, with the way these teams been paying, you think 239 is like a little bit high. But if you look at their history, 7 of the 10 games they played have gone over. And even the 3 games that they played dating back to last season, 2 last year and the first one this year, they've both gone over 240 points. It's just like these teams aren't playing defense against each other. They're just playing defense like it's optional, and you see plenty of buckets. So I'm going to stick with that trend, and I'm going to stick with the over in this game. Also, I think the Spurs break out of their slump. They lost 6 straight, and we know in this game, nobody wins forever, nobody loses forever. You'll go on a big winning streak, and eventually it'll come down, or you'll be in a big slump, and eventually you'll bounce out of it. I think they bounce out of it versus a Washington team who they've dominated as well. They just have better talent. Both teams are struggling right now, but the Spurs have better talent to struggle with, and of course they got Greg Popovich. So anybody you want to get out of struggle against is Washington, and I think the Spurs steal this one on the road.
1 bucket, right? 1 bucket.
That's it. Just 2 points. We just need 1 bucket. I think they can steal this one out there in Washington for sure.
All right, nice. Let's turn our attention to some college basketball, if we may. St. Mary's at Fresno State. St. Mary's 3-1. They're 1-3 against the spread. Their last outing was a 79-48 thumping of Cal Poly. Their only loss was to Winthrop. And I challenge most people out there to tell me if they even know where Winthrop is. It's not the name of your neighbor. North Carolina. Oh, no, here we go. Count Trapula, Wapo in the studio. He says North Carolina.
I'm from Southern California, and I challenge most people to tell me about Cal Poly. If I wasn't from there, I wouldn't know about them either. Of course, they're going to romp
Pomona.
them. Right, Pomona, California. There you go.
Yeah, of
I
course.
mean, I think this game is going to be a lot closer than people think. They're 3-1 on the year, but like you said, they're 1-3 against the spread. So they're winning. They're not covering. These lines are being super inflated. And this is their first true road game. Both of the games were at home, and then they had a neutral site game. So this is their first true road game out there on the road.
But Triple B.
Fresno State, they're 2-0 at home.
Yeah, but Triple B. I mean, St. Mary's, they're currently ranked 6th in college basketball in 3-pointers. I mean, that's, even with the line move back, I guess it hasn't hurt them at all, has it? I mean,
not at all. That's why they're 3-1, but that's why they're 1-3 against the spread. These inflated lines, with them being such good 3-point shooters, the odds makers are giving the points just a little bit too high. I mean, I don't think Fresno State wins this one, but I don't think it's a double-digit loss either.
Well, let's see. Fresno State, you mentioned they're 2-2, 1-2 against the spread. They had a big 92-47 win against Cal State San Bernardino. 6-3 straight up in the last 9. And what do we have? It's like -9.5, right? -9, 128 points.
You said they're 2-2, but the 2 victories both came at home. So they're going to fight good at home. And I don't think they can win, like I said, but I don't think they're going to lose by 10 points. I see this one by like 5 or 6 late. I even think they can lead at the halftime, maybe get a little money line action on them.
You're getting it down and dirty from Triple B right there. You're hearing it right now. Fresno State could be leading at the half. It's definitely not going to go the 9, he says. So, look, if you want to make a bet, be smart when you bet. Bet with the best intelligence you can get. The best sport betting intelligence you can get, you're going to find at Picks and Parlays. So, let's lock this one in, Triple B. We're saying go with the under.
Yeah, we're going with the over. We're going
Pardon
with
me, the over. Pardon me, my bad. Yeah, the over.
Yeah, and we're going with the plus 9.5 points.
And we're going plus 9.5 points. There you have it from Triple B. Before we let you go, anything special tonight?
Yeah, I got my eye on the Portland Trailblazer game. As we all know, Carmelo Anthony is back, and I don't know how that's going to go. He's been out of the league for some time. I mean, to me, the Lakers were going to pick him up, but I think he's a black hole. So I was glad we stayed away from him. Obviously, Portland's seen something in him. He's been working out, and he's going to make his NBA debut tonight against the Pelicans.
Well, Triple B, let me just tell you, I seen something on Carmelo Anthony, and if you guys get me drunk enough one day, I will tell you the story when I projectile vomited all over Carmelo Anthony. So nothing personal, by the way. He was a very nice guy, I have to say. But, I did manage to upchuck, and I think it's an important story to tell today on World Toilet Day, that I can share this moment that I had with the great Carmelo Anthony with our listeners.
You should have led with that, man. I could have took some time off from my picks. You should have led with that for sure. Next time you got to lead with that one, Nick.
All right, what else you got?
That's it for tonight, man. Like, it's pretty much just a normal slate. We got our hockey, we got our college basketball, we got our pro football. It's so many sports going. Right now, you can get my passes. We get every single pick I release from every single sport, playoffs and championship picks included, for one low price with that VIP All Sports Pass. That way you don't got to pay per day, per play, and per sport. Watch them all and make a lot of money right now.
Yeah, go to picksandparlays.net. You'll find loads of free picks. And, of course, our expert cappers like Triple B, Tony Brown, right here, talking basketball. He covers a lot of sports. Tell you what, I'm lucky enough to have El Guapo in studio with me right now. Craig, do we still have the 449 special going on?
No.
Do we have anything else going on?
Monthly special.
Monthly special. And what is that?
All picks for a month, $3.49.
All picks for a month, $3.49.
That's like $10 a
Handicapper.
day.
That's like Christmas in middle of November, guys. I mean,
You're
do
serious
yourself a
about
favor.
making money. You can't afford not to get those plays right there.
Don't be a numpty.
Right.
Arm yourself with the best information you can get. You're gonna get it. You're gonna get it at picksandparlays.net.
I love the new nickname, by the way, too. Triple B, Brown Bookie Buster, because that's what we're out here doing, man. Breaking bookies. It's way better than bandwagon, so I think we can stick with that one.
And better than TB. All right. Thank you very much, Triple B. Coming up next, college football with El Tigre.
Attention to anyone that's written a book or wants to write a book. The process is not that complicated. Take a first step. Even if you write a page a day, you'll build momentum and your book will become a reality. The hard part is getting it published. That's when you need to call Page Publishing. They've got hundreds and hundreds of thank yous from different new authors, just like you. They make the process of publishing your new book and getting it sold online a simple process. You can learn how simple it is right now by calling for your free Page Publishing New Author Submission Kit. One quick 3-minute phone call, that's all it takes to get free information and learn how you can get your book published. Pick up your phone right now and call us 24 hours a day at this number, 800-603-0885, 800-603-0885, 800-603-0885. That's 800-603-0885.
Imagine this is your money and someone wants to take it from you. Who is it? The IRS. They want your money, and guess what? They can legally take it, all of it if they want. Remember, they sent you that letter that said, hey, you owe us a bunch of cash and we're going to take it from you. So what do? Fight back by letting our team of experts at the tax helpline work it out with the IRS so you can keep your money. And we're good at what we do. When you hire us, you get a team of guys on your side that know the IRS laws and will fight to save your money. So, if you owe the IRS a ton of cash and you want to keep it, call right now and learn for free how we can help you put it back in your pocket.
800-932-1749, 800-932-1749, 800-932-1749. That's 800-932-1749.
Not too long ago, it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank, didn't it? For a vacation or a new car. But today, withdrawing your own cash has become risky. Pat Boone here for Swiss America. According to The Secret War, a new Swiss America white paper, I learned that all banks are now required to spy on you and me for the government, and then report any financial behavior deemed suspicious or unusual. You must read The Secret War. It's free. Truth is, I believe the government's new war against cash is really a war against us all. But The Secret is now out. So please, get and read The Secret War.
Pick up your phone and call right now. 800-932-5517, 800-932-5517, 800-932-5517. Once again, that's 800-932-5517.
Well, welcome back to Picks and Parlays. I'm your host, Nick Geber, in for Chelsea Messenger. We are killing it today, this World Toilet Day, in celebration of the commode that we all know and love. We're giving you loads of free picks here on the show. Who better to bring in for this segment to talk some college football? He is Tigre. Hear him roar. Tony Tellez joins us today. Tony, how are you doing today, World Toilet Day?
I'm doing very well, and you brought up World Toilet Day. I was just thinking about the new stadium there in UNLV football, and I was wondering if will they meet the quality standards of play in that new stadium there in Vegas?
Will they meet the quality? You mean UNLV or the toilets at the new stadium?
UNLV, it could probably both. UNLV.
Well, we can talk about the UNLV program. We'll probably have a couple of minutes. In fact, why don't we do it? The UNLV program is searching and crying out for, and I know the boosters are, for, to make that big push so that they can become one of the top tier college football teams. Stadium's been a problem. Sam Boyd has been a poor stadium here in Las Vegas. It's not close to the campus. It's not really close to anywhere. This is smack in the middle of the Strip, well, the southern portion of the Strip, let's be specific. On the west side of the Strip, if you haven't been to Las Vegas, you can't miss this new stadium. I think it will help it, but I mean, it's going to take recruiting and it's going to take coaching at UNLV, and it's also probably going to take a little change in the way that they divvy up the money in terms of from the state level, because I can tell you that's been one of their recruiting challenges as well. I know a little bit about it, Tony, so don't ask, because you may not like what you hear.
Maybe they'll try to, the ticket prices are going to be extremely expensive there for the Raiders. You got to wonder, maybe they'll go for the youth. The ticket price will be affordable, and they'll get some fans over to want to experience that new stadium. Should be exciting. I think that's what the Chargers are hoping for here in LA, because they know the ramp prices are going to be sky high, and maybe they'll follow the Clipper business model back 20 years ago, where they just made the tickets dirt cheap and go for that younger millennial audience. Right. And of course, hopefully they can get some fan base in there.
By the way, speaking of stadiums, I just read that I guess San Diego State is buying the former Jack Murphy Stadium, right, where the Chargers used to play. That's going to be San Diego State's new stadium. They paid $30 million or $28 million for it. It was just approved, so that is definitely going to happen.
Well, I think they bought it so they can pretty much upgrade it, because they were renting that stadium. They've been playing there for a while now, and now kind of following what USC has been doing with the Coliseum. Coliseum's still going to be there. USC is not going to go play in that new stadium. They're going to play it in their campus there, right into the campus there in the Coliseum, and they put a lot of money into it. I think San Diego State's going to follow suit. Yeah,
I think so too. All right, well, let's get to it. We're not talking about, well, we are talking about USC, but let's leave their future drubbing till a little bit later. Let's start with Colorado State, Wyoming. Colorado State 4-6, 6-4 against the spread. By the way, hi, Bill Morrison. He's in Australia. He says he's loving the show. Well, happy you're joining us. Sydney, one of my favorite cities on the planet, Bill. And if you're not from there, well, I'm sorry anyway. But all right, Colorado State 4-6, 6-4 against the spread, coming off a 38-21 loss to Air Force, snapped a 3-game winning streak with that win. Patrick O'Brien thrown for 2,297 yards. Now, this is not actually, Patrick O'Brien himself wasn't thrown. He has thrown for 2,297 yards, 10 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and by the way, a writer of terrific books, Master and Commander being one of them. I don't know if you know Patrick O'Brien was the author of that book. All right, not this one though. Wyoming, 6-4, 6-4 against the spread, fell to 6-4 after losing 26-21 loss to Utah State. They lost 2 in a row. Let's see. They've gone under in all 4 of the last 4 conference games. I have Wyoming -7, total 50. Tiger, what do you got?
All right, these are 2 teams for the Mountain West Conference. Of course, that's where UNLV plays. They're in the Mountain West. And I'm going to take the points here with Colorado State at +7. They've covered 5 of their past 7. And they can move the football, on the road, averaging 455 yards, 307 passing. And we talked about this junior quarterback, Patrick O'Brien, throwing the football, not from the throne, but on the stadium, out in the field, doing very well. 64% completion rate in his past 2 games, 290 yards per game average. And, of course, Colorado State's a team that can put up points, 33 points a game on the highway. But one thing to note here with this Wyoming team, they did lose their starting quarterback, Sean Chambers, for the season with a knee injury. And the Cowboys' offense has produced 23 points or fewer in 4 of their past 5. And, of course, they're looking at a sophomore quarterback, Tyler Vanderwall, who completed only 52% of his passes with a touchdown and 3 picks in his starts for Chambers. And, Vanderwall started in his freshman campaign last year, but after completing 48% of his passes, lost his job in the summer to Chambers. And he's not the run threat that Chambers was. And I don't think the team feels confidence with Vanderwall behind center. He threw 3 picks in the loss at Utah State the last week. So the Cowboys have lost 2 straight. Rams have won 3-4. I'm going to take the points here, Nick, with Colorado State at +7.
And if I might add, Wyoming have the most difficult, the player with the single most difficult to pronounce first name in the history of all sports, Xavian, is that it? Mr. Valady? How do you pronounce that name?
You got me there, Nick. I these days I have 6 TVs. None of them have volume. So
hopefully this one does. All right. Let's move along. Kansas State at Texas Tech. Kansas State 6-4, 7-3 against the spread. 3-4 in conference, coming off a 24-20 loss to West Virginia. We're averaging 31.1 points per game. Texas Tech, on the other hand, they're 4-6, 5-4-1 against the spread. Only 2 of 6 in the last 8, 2-5 in conference play. They recently lost 33-31 to TCU. The total has gone over in 9 of the last 11 for versus K-State. K-State, we have -1, total 57. Roar, Tiger, roar.
We've seen line move here. Kansas State, we've seen Texas Tech now getting the money favored. We're going to take Kansas State here at +2.5. The total here is 55.5, but I like the dog in this one. Wildcats have won 3 straight overall against the Red Raiders and covered 4 of their past 5. One thing about Kansas State is they're defending. They're holding teams at 346 yards, only 4.1 yards a carry. And the quarterback, Skylar Thompson, is completing 61% of his passes, 10 touchdowns, 3 picks. But you know, one thing about Thompson, he's a threat to run the football. He had 3 rushing touchdowns against Kansas, 4 to Oklahoma in victories. Then he stopped running the football. The team did not win. You know, when Thompson runs the football, they have won. And Red Raiders, well, they suffered their 6th loss of the season after losing to TCU last week. And, you know, I think this sets up for Thompson to run on this team because Texas Tech is not a very good defense. Their form is poor in their past 5 games, giving up 541 yards, 412 through the air, allowing 33 points or greater in 6 of their past 7 games. And, of course, the Red Raiders have lost 6 of 8. I'm going to look here at the underdog, Nick, Kansas State at +2.5.
You know, Tony, interesting enough, you know, Texas Tech earlier on in the football season, you know, they were sort of the darling of everybody, it seemed, and went pear-shaped pretty quickly for them. Why is that?
Because they lost Ellen Bowman, their quarterback. He was out for the season, and they had trouble trying to fill his shoes. Looks like Jet Duffy will stick here at quarterback. He's performed well, but I don't know if he's as good as Bowman. Well, he's definitely not as good as Bowman. But the issue here with the Red Raiders has been the play of their defense. Even if Bowman was out there, I don't know if the Red Raiders would have a little more success than they had because this defense for the Red Raiders has not been very good this season here, and that's why you see you know, just a short favorite of 2.5. You see a home team laying less than 3. You know, the lines maker is telling you here that this is probably not a very good team here, having, you know, laying such a short number on their home field.
All right, well, let's talk about a team that is very good. Let's talk about UCLA. They're going to be at a team that has just got, quite frankly, very lucky this season. They're going to be at USC. UCLA are 4-6. Those numbers have got to be reversed. 4-5-1 against the spread. They're 4-3 in the Pac-12. They're coming off a 49-3 loss to Utah. You know, the problem with that, it was they had food poisoning in the hotel before the game, and, you know, that happens, right, Tony? Defensive issues a problem with 33, little under 34 points per game allowed. They're 5-15 straight up in the last 20 versus USC. It's part of the master plan, of course. USC are 7-4, 6-4 against the spread. 6-2 in the Pac-12. Last game was a 41-17 win versus Cal. Total has gone under in 10-13 games against UCLA. And Lori Loughlin's kids were going to go there. Okay, let's just leave it right there, shall we? USC -13, total 64.5. Tony, what do you got? I know it's UCLA,
yeah,
massive upset.
I like the underdog here with UCLA plus the points. Actually, I've seen some 14s. It's moved here within the last couple hours since we prepared our notes here. You can actually find 14s out there. That's the consensus line right now. So there's been a little bit of money on USC right now, but I'm going to take the underdog UCLA Bruins at +14. That's the number you can get right now. You know, one thing with the Bruins, you know, they did beat USC last year, so if they win out, they will go to the Bowl. And, you know, Nick, that'd be good news because they may be playing right in your backyard there in the Las Vegas Bowl where you see a lot of the Pac-12 teams that are 6-6. Bruins covered their past 2 head-to-head meetings with their rival. And, of course, you know, in a rivalry game, you always believe that the underdog is live. And UCLA is live because they've shown they've played a lot better. Now, I know they got blasted by Utah. They were actually playing with Utah until that Dorian Thompson fumble in that second quarter, which kind of changed the game.
Dagger through my heart.
USC.
T. Gray, dagger through my heart. Just leave it right there.
I know. That plus 21 looked good there until that momentum changer, no doubt about that. They just Utah steamrolled from there. You know, college football is such a momentum sport, and you just saw it turn around there. One thing with USC, very inconsistent. They do come off a win against an offensively challenged Cal team. Prior to that, they've had some struggles getting separation in a 5-point win to Arizona State. USC's offensive numbers have been good. 6 of their past 7 games, they've averaged 393 yards or greater. At home, USC's defense not the greatest, allowing 408 yards, 27 points a game. I believe Nick here, the Bruins can generate just enough offense here to cover this one. They're going to be motivated because, again, if you win here, you win against Cal. That's 6-6. That gets to take to Las Vegas for the Las Vegas Bowl for them. So I will look here at the Bruins plus we had 13.5 2 hours ago, but I'm going to tell you, look for the 14s because there's a lot of 14s out there.
T. Gray, thank you so much. And how appropriate we're talking about the Las Vegas Bowl on International World Toilet Day. Don't know what else to say. All right, when we come back, Higgy Smalls, Sean Higgs joins us. Let's talk some NFL. Tony, thank you so much. By the way, you can find Tony at picksandparlays.net. His expert picks are right there for you. Don't be silly. Go ahead and take a look at them right now. All right, be right back after this.
Members can now get up to 25% off at holidayinexpress.com during our cyber sale. We'll even throw in free breakfast. Just kidding. Breakfast is always included in your stay at Holiday Inn Express. Book now and save at holidayinexpress.com. Terms apply.
Welcome back to the show this World Toilet Day. Picks and parlays here on the Sports Byline Broadcast Network. I'm your host, Nick Geber. Now we're going to talk a little NFL with a man who loves it when you call him Hig Daddy, or Hig Papa, actually. Higgy Smalls himself, Sean Higgs.
Yes.
Ready to talk some NFL,
what do you
buddy?
say? Happy Rocky and Bullwinkle Day today, actually.
Is it really Rocky and Bullwinkle Day as well today? Well,
Yes.
that's wonderful. That's almost an offset to World Toilet Day. But is Rocky and Bullwinkle an officially mandated United Nations international holiday?
I think that's just an official U.S. holiday.
Ah, yes, of course.
Sorry.
Well, we like everyone that watches the show to enjoy.
But if you want to
Rocky
go
and
off of
Bullwinkle
the
and
United
use a
Nations,
toilet.
though, Nick, if we're just using UN, it's actually World Philosophy Day. So we'll philosophize here on some sports betting.
Let's do that, shall we? And
Got
let's
to
particularly
get on the good side of the UN.
Indeed, wouldn't want to, irritate them. Let's start with, we're going to do NFL. So let's start with 3 games we've curated for our listeners and viewers. Why don't we start with Jags at Titans? How does that sound?
All right, we could start Jags Titans. Let's get right to it.
Yeah, well, the Jags, they're 4-6, 5-5 against the spread. They're coming off a 31-13 thrashing at the hands of the Colts. They've given up 480 rushing yards in the last 2 games. And quite frankly, they're desperate. A loss all but ends their playoff hopes. So they are fighting with their backs against the wall here. The Titans 5-5 and 5-5 against the spread, coming off a bye week. The last game was a win against the Chiefs, which of course the Chiefs put that to the Chargers yesterday, didn't they? But that's a different matter. Okay, 3-1 since Tannehill took over for Marcus Mariota, scoring at least 20 points a game since. One of the great stories, I think, this season in the NFL. Has gone over in 4 of the last 5 games. The numbers I'm looking at, it says Titans minus 2.5, total 41. What do you think of this one?
Oh, I'm seeing 3s now.
Ooh.
Money's coming in on Tennessee, which, it makes sense. I got to tell you, I had the Jags last week. I said, you know what? Foles coming back off the bye week. The guy's a winner. I mean, he played, a quarter before getting hurt.
Yeah.
14-4 with the Eagles the first time around. 6-2 when Wentz went down. 4-1 in playoffs. Super Bowl MVP. The guy could play. But, watching last week's debacle there, I mean, he's getting back in game shape. The guy's been out of service for 3 months. So, and, I like the Jaguars. I thought they'd be good this year with Foles. Lost season when you lose a quarterback for, basically 3 months from, game 1 to mid-November here. I'm liking Tannehill and the Titans. Listen, he's a better quarterback than Mariota. Everybody was waiting for Mariota to turn into, I don't know who.
Quarterback?
Something better than what he is.
Yeah.
But, Tannehill, again, 3-1 in his games, but already basically same amount of yards, better completion percentage, more touchdowns. This team, 9 different receivers have caught touchdown passes. This is the definition of a team that is just a ho-hum team. They run the ball with Henry. They throw some short passes. At the end of the year, they're 8-8 or 9 or 7, and yet they're in the playoffs all the time. So I'm going Tennessee. Bye week is a great bonus here. Again, Tannehill's looked good in his 4 games. I'll ride him here. Short fave. I mean, I think this line should be a little higher, actually, believe it or not. I like Tennessee.
Okay, you like Tennessee. You think it should be more than 41?
Tennessee's defense is good. I think they've given up more than 20 just a couple times this year. So low scoring. Because Tennessee, they just want to win the game. So they don't care if they're winning at 16-3 or 24-7. They don't care. They're not, but the good thing about Tennessee is you're not laying huge points with them. So, that's a bonus. It's not like you need a big 10-point spread. But I think they handled this one like probably your 20-9 type game here. I think low scoring.
Al Ninos agrees with me, by the way. Today is a good day to talk bowls on National Toilet Day. So that's right, Al. And he writes to us on YouTube. You can do that as well, by the way. We're streaming live on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. And if you put something in the comments section, we will see it and hopefully talk about it, provided that the rudeness level is below extreme. Okay, youtube.com/picks parlays. Of course, visit us at picksandparlays.net, where we've got lots and lots of free picks for you. And our expert picks are ready for you when you are ready to kick it up a notch in your sports betting intelligence game. Let's do Falcons at Buccaneers. This is an interesting game because, it's for me, it's like how quickly sentiments shift. And when we're talking about Tampa Bay, they're 3-7. I mean, they're not very good. They're 2-8 against the spread. They lost to the Saints 34-17. They're 1-5 in the last 6. Jameis Winston's throwing almost as many interceptions as touchdowns. Jameis. Excuse me, Jameis. I mean, I can't keep up with these names. Jameis. What was this other guy here? Zenavuvia? Whatever. Jameis Winston. Thank you. Almost as many touchdowns as interceptions as touchdowns, which is never a good thing. And then, you got the Falcons. And just a few weeks ago, they were like the laughing stock of the NFL. I mean, everyone was having a real good guffaw about how bad the Falcons were. They're 3-7, which is also pretty crappy. But they won the last two since that awful 6-game losing streak. The last outing was a 29-3 win over the Panthers. So all of a sudden, Atlanta can't lose, right? I mean, the Falcons are just amazing. Oh, have I got this one wrong here?
Well, listen, totally different team the last 2 weeks, obviously. Going on the road, winning at New Orleans. Listen, I had the Saints. I thought they'd cover winning outright, an added bonus there. But defense showed up. They showed up again last week on the road with Carolina. Remember, this isn't a bad team. So the shocking part was that they started out so terribly with, Ryan. They got good receivers.
Hold on. Iggy Smalls. Hold on. I mean, surely your record dictates whether you're a bad or a good team. I mean, they're 3-7. I mean, if you tell
but who
3-7
saw them
equals
open up 1-7?
Bad team.
If at the beginning of the year people aren't saying, "Oh, the Falcons are going to be terrible here." No, the Falcons are going to fight with the Saints to win the South. You figure, that's the logical thinking. That's why you see them at the odds they were to win the AFC South. Excuse me, NFC South. So yeah, they go 1-7, but I mean, did you see? I didn't see that coming. Who saw that coming? I still think this is a talented team. I'm not going to be shocked if they run the table here to close out the regular season. Would that shock people?
Super Bowl win in your estimation there?
No, I don't know about that. I'm
just trying to hold your feet to the fire.
No, I'm not going that far. But can I see them reeling off, 5 in a row here and finish 8-8, 9-7? Would that won't be shocking? I mean, if you can go 1-7, you can go 7-1. So I like the Falcons here. They're just playing better. Defense is playing good. Offense is playing good. Now you got Winston coming in here, Mr. Turnover himself. 0-6 run ATS last 6 games. I don't see anything positive about Tampa Bay. They got some nice players, but that doesn't translate.
Bay, by the way.
Well, they're not in Tampa though. They're in Atlanta. Play nice.
But you said you didn't say anything good about Tampa Bay, and I said yes, and it's very humid.
Oh yeah. Okay. I don't know. I'm not a big Tampa.
A general geographical statement than a statement about this particular match. There. Come on.
I've never been to Tampa. I've been to Sarasota.
Let's go.
I've been to Sarasota and I've been to Orlando and Miami. That's it. No.
I was called an elitist on this show a couple of days ago, and I'm just proving that I truly am an elitist indeed. So bear with me, folks.
You know your weather. You know your weather and world holidays.
I just know it's like miserably humid in Florida. Okay, it's unbearable there. It's very nice, but it is.
Is that all Florida? See, I didn't think it was all Florida. Was that bad?
No, it's anyway. No disrespect.
I heard like you get a little north, it's not too bad.
No disrespect to my fine friends who are Floridians. All right. So what are we taking? You're taking Atlanta and the points on this one?
I'm taking Atlanta. The line's actually moved up to 4.5 some spots. So, All right. It opened up. It was short. It was like a 2. It was like this line was like 3 to start. Now it's chirping up. So I'm not the only one thinking Atlanta's gonna get it done.
All right, Higgy Smalls. Let's move on. Colts versus Texans. Yes. Colts 6-4, 5-4-1 against the spread. It's a battle for first place though in the AFC South. No Marlon Mack. Without him, he's missing 61% of the rush and 20. Without him, this is interesting. I mean, this is a huge part of the team, and he's not there right now, and that's a big, big problem for the Colts. This stat I have here, that 61% of the rushing yards came from him alone, 25% of all offensive production. That's a problem. The Texans are 6-4, 5-5 against the spread. A 41-7 loss to Baltimore. This was a short week for the Texans, though, so could be interesting. Houston minus 35, total 45.5. Colts 10-1 against the spread against a team with a winning record. Texans are 2-8 versus a team with a winning record. The under is 13-3 when it's a full moon and the wind is blowing at 6 miles an hour and there's nothing on the telly.
You said 3.5. I'm seeing 4s. This line is actually moving up here on Houston with the short week. I got to say, I like the Colts. I like Indy here. I know, Mack is out. Hilton, you never know what you're going to get out of this guy. He's been banged up most of the season. But I got Brissett back. If he's under center, they're just a different team. 5-1, last 6 straight up against Houston. 3 of those wins has been with Brissett behind center, not luck. Head coaching edge, I think we have that night and day edge over O'Brien and Texans. And so Texans got mauled last week. Yeah, this is like, we got to come out and prove we're not this bad. I don't know. Colts defense is solid, and I've said it before, 100% healthy. I see this Colts team fighting the Patriots and the Ravens to get to the Super Bowl. That's I think they're a good balanced team, and I'm going to find out. Listen, we're getting 3.5. I could get 4. Wonderful with the Colts, but I'm taking Indy here. I know it's a risky play when you don't have your big back there, but the offensive line side off. My biggest worry when you take Indianapolis is my field goal kicking, because Vinatieri's leg is. I mean, he's 45. His leg's probably about 75 because he's missing extra points. He's missing field goals. So, hopefully that doesn't come to hurt us. We are getting points, which is, better than him missing a field goal and you win by 2 instead of 5. So we're getting points here. So I'm going to take the Colts
from
division
3.5
rival.
to 4. Is that right?
Yeah, it's up to 4 now. Yeah. So and it's funny. This line opened at 6, dropped down to 3.5, up to 4, 3s, 4s. So a lot of movement. I guess you got the injuries, bug circling. People don't know what's going on there, but I'm all in on the Colts. I'm a fan of the head coach. I like Brissett. As I said many times when we do this guy, he took over. Luck was hurt 1 year. People, I think, thought a whole lot. The guy is a good NFL quarterback. He's not terrible. He's not a terrible quarterback. Everybody thinks he's like some backup in there. No, he's not. Give the guy his credit. Give the credit where credit's due. He's solid. Remember, this guy was picked by the Patriots. He was pretty good with them. They traded him away. I don't know. I like him. I like the Colts.
Worst
quietly
quarterback in the
turning
league
into
right now.
a dark horse team for me.
Give me the worst quarterback in the league right now.
Worst quarterback in the league right now? It's got to be Trubisky. I mean, by far. I can't. I mean, what am I going to throw Haskins in there after 1 start? I mean, I'm not going to do that to the poor kid. And, it's unfair to say that about somebody like Rosen down in Miami. You start yin-yanging guys out like that. Come on, man. Especially Miami's doing a total rebuild. Oh, let's just trade away our best offensive lineman and he's basically a rookie who was behind a crap line in Arizona, and they do it to him again. This is how you ruin guys. Like, you never know if he would be good because he's not in a solid program. Hopefully next year he gets a shot. But, if they want to take I don't know if they're going to get Burrow or, 2 is hurt. Who are they going to take? Hurts. The kid over at Oregon. I don't know. I think Rosen deserves a shot. You could take a guy that high, any team. I think he deserves a fair shot.
Rosen,
he's not getting a fair shot. Haskins not getting a fair shot.
All right.
It's tough. It's tough with these kids. Everybody's on the hot seat. The coach, the GMs, everybody.
Higgy Smalls, Sean Higgs, thank you very much.
All right, buddy.
If you like what Sean says and you want to see his picks or get more of them, you can do that at picksandparlays.net. And of course, we have lots of free picks on the site for you as well. Not just our expert picks, but loads of free picks, game analysis. It is really, if you're a sports bettor or a sports fan, you can spend most of your waking day soaking up everything that we have to offer at picksandparlays.net. And don't forget, what better way to surf on National Toilet Day, World Toilet Day. All right, up next, recap of all of today's picks. Be right back.
This is an urgent health notice for all residents suffering from back, neck, knee, and wrist pain. You may qualify for a pain-relieving brace at little or no cost to you, but the deadline is fast approaching. Simply call the Health Alert Hotline now.
You heard right. You may qualify for a pain-relieving back, neck, knee, or wrist brace. These items may even be covered by Medicare or your private insurance. The Health Alert Hotline is your brace company. These specialized braces have been tested for pain relief. Call us toll-free right now to determine your eligibility and to learn how to use your private insurance or Medicare to minimize your out-of-pocket cost. Don't wait. If the deadline passes, you may lose your opportunity to get a pain-relieving back, neck, knee, or wrist brace at little or no cost to you.
800-430-9571. 800-430-9571. 800-430-9571. That's 800-430-9571.
Attention business owners. Now is the perfect time to start saving money on your cable TV bill for your business. We can give you packages with up to 90 great channels and save your business a ton of cash. And if you call right now, you can learn how to get free equipment equipment, and free installation. Now you have choices. It's time to start saving money on your cable TV bill for your business. And call today and get 90 channels plus free equipment and free installation. Smart business owners like you all across the country are consolidating and saving money on their cable TV, internet, and phone service for the business. So now's the perfect time. This may be a limited time offer to the first 100 people that call right now. So please save money and call now.
800-470-7113. 800-470-7113. 800-470-7113. That's 800-470-7113.
Attention business owners. Are you struggling while waiting for your customers to pay on their net 30, 60, or 90-day invoices? Can't get a business loan, have no equity, bad credit, or maybe no credit at all? Then you need to call AmeriFactors right now. AmeriFactors will give you cash for your invoices and there's nothing to pay back. We simply buy your account receivables, and if those clients don't pay on the invoices, we take the loss. We give you funds based on your account receivables, not your credit. And 98% of all applicants are approved. It's that simple. With AmeriFactors, there's no more waiting for your customers to pay. We give you the funds up front, then we wait for your customers to pay us. Fund your business today. Call AmeriFactors right now.
800-847-1183. 800-847-1183. 800-847-1183. That's 800-847-1183.
Well, welcome you back to Picks and Parlays here on the Sports Byline Broadcast Network. I'm your host, Nick Geber, in for Chelsea Messenger. Find me on Twitter at Nick Geber, and don't forget to tune in each and every weekday from 4 p.m. Eastern Time. That's 1 p.m. on the left coast, right here on the Sports Byline Broadcast Network. Also stream live video on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. We've had Al Ninos, by the way, agreeing with me. Tampa is bad, both the Bucks and the weather. Thank you, Ninos. I feel better now that somebody agrees with me. But you don't have to agree with me. You have to listen to what our cappers have to say. And we've had three of the best of our stable on with you today. Let's look back at our picks to give you a recap. Tony Brown, Triple B, gave us his NBA picks. Spurs at Wizards, take the Spurs -2. 76ers at Knicks, we said take the Sixers -12.5. And college basketball, St. Mary's at Fresno State, take Fresno State +9.5. Then we had El Tigre himself, Tony Tellez, and his college football picks. Colorado State at Wyoming, take Colorado State +7. UCLA, the best team in the history of college sports, at USC, take UCLA +13.5. Always take UCLA. Kansas State at Texas Tech, take Kansas State +2.5. And we topped it all off with Sean Higgs. Joined us on the show with his NFL picks. And this is what Higgy Smalls had to offer you. Colts at Texan, take the Colts +3. Buccaneers at Falcons, take the Falcons -4. And the Jaguars at Titans, take the Titans +3. That's going to wrap up the show today. Hope you enjoyed it. Remind you to tune in tomorrow right here at the Sports Byline Broadcast Network or live on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, you know it, all the social media stuff. Check out our website, picksandparlays.net. We have loads of free picks. And by the way, tonight, if you've been looking for more NBA, we've got our NBA Rapid Fire with Ali Burns. You don't want to miss that. Tune in at our website, picksandparlays.net. Until tomorrow, folks, have a great night. Bet responsibly, be sensible, and always bet, win, repeat.